back to my channel. So we have look number 2 for Valentine's Day, and I made this one a little bit more simpler and a little bit more beginner friendly and a little bit more subtle. So for those of you who want to do a more toned down, girly, soft, possibly date night look, you have your option. Unlike the last one, this was gonna be a lot quicker. It's not a talk through because I'm actually getting ready to go somewhere, so I didn't have time to do the whole shebang. But yeah, also, this is our new wig. I don't know what I want. I actually kind of feel like her name should be Candy because she's so cute and cotton candy pink. I don't know, what do you guys think? I love this. I bought a couple of new wigs, and this is the first one that I'm trying out, and I love her. She's a cutie. So let me know what you guys think of the tutorial. If you want to see how I got this look, keep on watching.
Okay, so we are just going to pin some of this hair out of the way because it is in my way. And I literally have not had a chance to pluck any of the hairs from this wig out of the hairline, which I normally like to do. So it looks a little thick, too thick for my liking, but whatever, you know, this is just for like, this was just for the look for the evening. So I'll go ahead and fix that wig once I get a chance to do so. So I'm gonna be first moisturizing my skin with this Pixie Rose Balm. And this is one of my favorite products to use for drier skin types. I am not that dry, but I was gonna be using a very matte foundation. So just to give my skin a little bit more moisture and to have the foundation lay on smoothly, I decided to go with this one. It's a very thick type of consistency, very creamy, and it doesn't have that water gel feel like some moisturizers do. So it feels very nice and hydrating on the skin. I literally feel like my skin is drinking gallons of water when I put this on. It just feels so refreshing. So I'm going to be mixing 2 products. I'm using my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation that I used in the last tutorial, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of the MAC Hyper Real Glow foundation. This is the gold tone. Basically, it's an illuminizer. It just gives your skin a nice sheen. You could use it before your foundation. You can use it after your foundation. Like once you have foundation on, I like to mix it into the foundation just a little bit to give it a nice sheen. Like I said, this foundation is super matte, as you guys saw in the last tutorial, and I love that, and I love the staying power it has, but I wanted it to be just a little more luminous tonight. So what I'm doing after I mix it, I apply it all with a flat foundation brush before going in and taking my Sigma flat top kabuki brush to just kind of flatten all out. Don't mind, you can kind of see like the hairs at the nape of my neck peeking through in the back. Don't mind that, just ignore it. Like I said, I just kind of put this wig on, not like the best of my abilities, but you know, she was on, and that's all that matters. Anyways, so I'm pressing this foundation into my skin like I did in the last video. Like I said, brushes are kind of my thing right now when it comes to foundation and concealer, so we are sticking with that. And I'm just making sure that I really am working this in evenly and just trying to press this into my skin as much as possible before going in with the concealer. So for concealer, I'm taking, again, another mixture of products. I'm taking the Tarte Shape Tape in Light Sand with the MAC 24 Hour Smooth Wear Concealer in NC10. I'm going to be putting on the matte concealer first, and I'm placing some right underneath my brow bone because I am going to be trying to smooth over some concealer product onto my brows just to lighten them a bit, because this wig is so platinum that I feel like I need to lighten my brows as much as possible with just makeup, because like I mentioned before, your girl isn't about to bleach her brows. That is way too much of a commitment for me. But I do want to get them light as possible so my brows aren't too dark. Once I applied both concealers on, I'm then going to be just taking this brush from Crown, and I am just buffing this again into my under eye area and just making sure I'm really working this in so that it's evenly distributed across my eyelids and across the whole center of my face, and that it's worked into the foundation as well. So here you can see I'm just really trying to brush this all across my eyebrows, and I am taking this on my eyelids as well so the concealer can start to act as a bit of a primer. I'm then going to be taking the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder in Sugar Cookie. And again, just placing this right underneath my eyes with a tapered brush. I'm just making sure to really set the center of my face. Again, I'm not going to be setting the rest of my face with any type of powder because this foundation does dry down pretty fast and pretty matte, and I don't really want that heaviness tonight for this look. So I'm just taking this setting powder across the center of my face where we placed all that concealer, just to make sure that does stay on really, really well. Now for the brows, again, I'm taking that Milk Beauty or Milk Makeup brow gel in the color Haze that I showed y'all in my last video. So I'm again trying to give my brows a little bit more of a tint of blonde, and I'm just going over them right now with this gel just so that they can begin to dry and set. And then you'll see later on how I fill them in as light as possible to make them look as light as possible. Basically, I'm just kind of using my natural hair here to fill in the majority of my brow, and then whatever is missing, any gaps or sparse areas, you'll see what I use to just kind of give it a little bit more fullness, but definitely not any more darkness, if that makes sense. So I'm then taking one of my favorite Bobbi Brown brushes and I'm bronzing up my cheekbones already. I am using that MAC and Patrick Starr holiday collaboration they did. I'll show it in a bit on screen. I just kind of got excited and forgot to show it first before using it. And I'm just taking this into the hollows of my cheekbones and across my forehead as well. This bronzer has a bit like of a shine to it. It's not a matte bronzer at all. It does have a little bit of like a gold highlight to it, so it's really pretty. I love using this because on my fair skin tone, it contrasts really, really well. And then to kind of just deepen and contour a bit, I'm just going to be using the Hoola bronzer from Benefit and this small blending brush from Morphe. And I'm just taking this in small circles towards the back part of my cheekbone, and then just placing this again in those inner eye sockets and the jawline. I'm also going to be taking a little bit on my forehead. I'm trying to be really careful not to get the hairline of my wig too dirty. I did get it dirty, but like, I don't care, it's okay. It comes off pretty easily, but I was just trying my best to not disturb the hairline too much. So now I'm taking that Morphe R8 brush that I love to use for my nose contour, and again, just using the Hoola bronzer for contouring. That's all I used for contouring products. I didn't have to dip into my contouring palettes. The Hoola bronzer, the shade works for my skin tone pretty well, so I felt like I didn't need to deepen it with any other type of additional product. Again, I wanted to keep this look pretty light since the hair is so light. So for highlight, I am taking my Jeffree Star Ice Cold Skin Frost, and this is one of my favorite cool tone highlighters. It's easy to get carried away with this product, and I feel like in the past I have gotten carried away with putting on too much. So with a tapered brush, I'm dusting it across my Cupid's bow, but also just placing it in very small amount on my cheekbones, and just trying to be careful not to place it like all over the place, because on the cheekbones I feel like I can go a little overboard, so I'm just being very meticulous on how I place it. I dust them across my forehead, and I'm taking a little bit on a little tiny detail brush to place down the bridge of my nose and the tip of my nose. For the forehead, you don't have to place any. If you feel like you have texture on your forehead, I would avoid putting any type of highlighter on there. But if your forehead is relatively smooth, then by all means, it's such a pretty look. For blush, I am using Kylie's Barely Legal, like my old ass can even relate to that anymore. But I think it's such a pretty, very pretty muted toned down color that I feel like it just looked with this pink wig. So I'm taking that on a big powder brush and just kind of dusting this across my cheeks. Since it is such a light blush color, I did layer it on pretty thick because I wanted the blush to last me for a good while. And then I did something that I normally don't do, but I wanted to try, and I felt safe doing it with this shade because it is so light, and that is dusting across the tip of my nose, which I think actually looked really cute. So before we move on to the eyes, I'm going to take a little bit more of I'm actually taking the Pretty Vulgar powder, and I'm using that Pretty Vulgar setting powder to carve out my contour and just kind of set my laugh line so they don't appear too soon. And then I'm also placing this on the edge of my nose and underneath my eyes to catch any fallout. We're keeping the eye look relatively easy and relatively light, so I don't expect there to be much fallout anyway. And I'm using this on a dry sponge just to grab as much powder as possible. So here you guys will see that I am filling in my brows super lightly. This is the Shape and Shade Brow Tint from MAC in the shade Lingering. This is kind of like a brow marker, and it's kind of interesting. This is actually the maybe second or third time I've tried this out, and I actually really liked it. I think this is such a good product to just kind of give yourself some natural brush strokes, kind of hair-like strokes, and then it gave such a light tint, but it was definitely adding to the look of my brows in a good way and not making them too dark. So basically what I did carve out and prime my eye like how I normally do the baseline of my brow, and then with this marker I just kind of filled in where I needed to, and then just got my concealer brush and basically just cleaned up the top because the bottom was pretty clean already. It didn't really get messy. So as you see, I'm taking that pink shadow from the Anastasia Norvina palette, and I'm taking this on a mid-sized blending brush, and I'm working this right at the center of my crease, directly underneath my brow bone. And I'm doing this because I want most of the color to be placed there on the outer part of my eyelid. And then as I begin to work in small circular motions to buff out and blend this pink shadow, whatever is left on my brush is what I'm going to use to kind of drag down more towards the inner corner of my crease. I don't want that inner corner to be too pink. I just wanted it pink enough, because then we are going to be going in with this light pink from the James Charles Morphe palette, and we're going to just kind of be going over on top of this pink with it on a clean blending brush from Luxie, and just kind of muting that pink a little bit more. I wanted it to be obviously pink, but I didn't want it to be in your face pink. So I felt like the mixture of these two pink shadows really helped give that perfect girly light touch of pink without it being too like pink looking, if that makes sense. I know I'm saying pink a lot, but I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Anyways, so I'm just going back in and retouching that inner corner because it got a little too muted for me. So then I'm taking just a regular eyeshadow brush and taking that base color from the Norvina palette, and I'm placing this on the first 2/3 of my eye, letting most of the color being deposited on the first third of the eye, because that is just where I want it to be the most opaque with white. And I'm taking it up pretty high, kind of like faking my crease a little bit, just to kind of open my eye a little bit more and give me that larger lid look. And then whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to use the brush tips and like bristles to help blend that together into the pink shadow, especially as we go more towards the outer corner of the eye. And don't mind me here, I was obviously getting very into my music, so I just had a moment where I needed to rock out. Now I am just popping a little bit of inner corner highlight. I'm using that same Jeffree Star Skin Frost on a small little detail brush to put in that highlight, and I felt like this just really made the eye sparkle in such a subtle way, but in a very pretty way that's still very noticeable. And I kind of dragged that color, that highlight up a little bit higher, so it kind of just hugged like a little moon shape right on the inner corner of my eye, so that way when I turned you can really see that highlight just catch the light. I'm also placing this on my brow bone, which again just gave that nice little subtle lift to my eyebrow, and just like a nice little sheen. Again, just when you turn your head you have that boom, nice brow bone highlight that we can all appreciate. So I'm then placing my liner. I'm using the Pretty Vulgar black gel liner. This is my current obsession, and I'm using this just on a flat, tiny angle brush. You can kind of see how I do my wing liner here. I do have a full liner tutorial on my channel, so if you just search it, it should pop up. But basically what I do, and really what you need to pay attention to, is just how I hold my brush and how I begin to create the outline of my wing. Basically it's like a stencil kind of, and I just fill that in. And then my part that I feel like I guess I struggle, not that I struggle with, but that's harder for me and that I tend to be really cautious about, is the inner part of my eye when I connect that wing to my inner corner because I don't really have a lot of lid space when I open my eye. I have fairly hooded eyes, so I have to keep that line really thin, and it's easy to like go overboard and not make it too thick so that you can't really appreciate the shape of your wing when your eyes are open. So I just be really, really cautious of that. So I'm then going to be taking a little bit more of that pink and taupe color from the Norvina palette on a smudge brush, and I'm just brushing this underneath the root of my bottom lashes, and I just wanted to give a little bit of an eye-opening effect. I didn't want to put liner or anything too dark underneath my eye. Again, I wanted to keep this look really light, really natural, wearable, and easy for you guys. And then we're going to be adding drama with the lashes. So I'm using TL2 from Tati Lashes. These are one of my favorite styles from them. It's just that classic short to long lash look that really gives your eye like an almond look. And while the lashes are drying with the lash glue, I am then just going to be lining my lips. I'm taking this pretty pink ColourPop lip liner, and I'm just going to be creating a little bit of shading on the outer edges of my lips, and then I'm going to be taking the NYX Lip Lingerie in the shade Baby Doll, which is super light. As it dries, it does begin to darken slightly, but it just gave this not hot pink, but this pink lip liner a perfect blend. So I kind of got a little bit of that fuller lip look without it being too obvious, and then again keeping everything pink but not too pink. I had to be really careful what lip color I went with this look, because if it was too pink, I think it was gonna be too matchy with the eyes. So I needed something just a little bit more on the neutral side, and I feel like this combo was pretty spot on. And then I'm just being really careful to line my lips cleanly. I feel like that's so important. That's like one thing I'm very anal about, is how clean the lip line is, because I feel like that can really make a difference in your lip shape. I'm then just going to be popping on these lashes, and then you'll see what I'm talking about, that these lashes are life. They really, really are so pretty, and they're very comfortable too. Ugh. The lashes really give this simple eye look that little kick that it needs to make it ultra glam. And it's just like one of those looks where it was so easy to do, but it may look like it took you like a good while to do it, but you know, you're able to pull it off like, oh, I just, you know, slapped this on in 5 minutes and here I am ready for my Valentine's date type of thing. I'm just gonna be blending out that line because it was bothering me, especially editing this video. I was like, oh my God, blend that out. So I had to blend that out. I'm then just gonna be setting with setting spray, and we're done. Wraps up the tutorial. I don't know why that came out so slow. But let me know what you think of the look down below in the comments. I hope you guys have a very, very, very happy V-Day. Much love from me to you. I'll be your Valentine if you don't have one. Who cares, right? Like, I got you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.